Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA. Today, I am with one of the newest members of the UFC roster. He is Mr. Daniel Frunza. Daniel, how does that sound? Does that sound good? Newest member of the UFC right here in front
Man,
of me.
it was about time. Look, I'm just honoring here Dynamite Contender Series. Short, I love this short. It looks so good on me. But now I'm gonna have the one with the UFC, with the famous three letters. That looks better on me.
So you found success last Tuesday in Las Vegas against Vadym Kutsyi. First round battle through a little bit of adversity there. Second round, you're able to land a nasty body shot that really started. You're able to finish him off with the TKO. Walk me through that finish. Walk me through first. Walk me through before you landed the body shot and then up to the finish.
So I was being very successful to the head. I was landing straight punches to the head. He was throwing wide shots. So I was like, just hands up, cover, 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 and straight punches. So I just kept it simple. Jab and 1-2. That's it. Just stay behind the jab, stay long, 1-2 hard down the middle, and kind of when he was expecting for me to just keep going to the head, keep going to the head, I was like, there's the perfect chance for me to throw like a kick to the body. And he moved to my right, and he just walked into that kick. I just stabbed. It was not like a conventional middle kick, where you kick. I stabbed him with my big toe straight down the middle, and took the gas out of him. I saw his hands just going oof, down like this. That's when I knew he was really hurt. So yeah, I was looking for a shot like this, not necessarily to the body, but a shot that would change the tide of the fight. So it was the body shot, and from there, that moment on, the fight for him was just really, really just going down. It was a question. It was a matter of moment, for him to just quit.
In that first round, I mean, he was very aggressive, like you expected him to
Yeah,
be. And then in the second round, besides from throwing his threes, he really wasn't doing much. He wasn't going for no more takedowns. You could really tell he was getting tired. At what
he
point did
tried.
you
He tried
notice?
for the big take. He tried for the big takedown, but I defended it. He tried for the big takedown, and I just spin me there and just land on my side, and then I just got on my knees and got back up, and that's when he gave up. Like, I felt from that point going forward, he just completely gave up. He was like, I don't have it for another takedown, and this guy is still in my face, punching me, and yeah, that was. I think that takedown attempt, when I got back on the feet quick, that was his last stand, and from there he just crumbled.
When the ref called it off and you won the fight, what was going through your head?
To be honest, I was so happy it was just over. I got into that bout knowing that whatever happens, I'm gonna finish on a stretcher, or with Dana calling my name at the end of the night, give me that contract. Like, it's either or. So going into the fight, I was extremely confident, and once it was over, I was just happy it was over, because it was a really hard fight for me, because I went into that fight 50%. Mentally, 1000%. Physically, I went there 50% due to some injuries that in camp happen when you train really hard. And and yeah, I was just happy it was over, to be honest.
Now, following the fight, when you were waiting to talk to Dana, were there any nerves where you felt pretty confident that you just did what you had to do to get the contract?
I mean, come on. The guy before me won by a boring submission. The Argentinian one did that one did a really nice fight. It was clean. It was clean. Like, he did everything that he needed to do. And the two chicks before, eh, really, it was a good fight, pretty competitive, but UFC caliber, I don't know. So yes, 100%. I mean, you go in there, fight hard, and then you finish your opponent, you have 100% Dana's approval. So yeah, I was 1000% confident that I got that contract.
And then when he actually, at the end of the day, it was kind of funny, the other guys that were on there, I think you were the only English speaking fighter who was getting
Yeah,
the contract. And it was kind of like a delayed reaction from everyone else because they didn't really know what Dana was saying. Right away, you understood what was going on.
I was just pounding my chest like a gorilla.
Being
Of
told
course.
that, making it official that you're now part of the UFC family, what was going through your head at that point? Was it just amazing?
Finally, man, I got delayed 2 years when I was living in South America because of the pandemic. I was not able to train. I was not able to do basically nothing because the rules they were so strict there. They just let us out 2 times a week, like outside in public spaces, but only for groceries for like 2-3 hours. It was so strict. There was no gym. There was nothing was open. So I just lost a year and a half or more, just basically staying in the house, hoping for one day they're gonna let us out and let us back to a normal life. So I just lost 2 years. I was 2 years behind the schedule, when I came here in the US. So for me, making it now, it's like finally, it was about damn time.
Laura Senko touched upon it. You're living that American dream, move to the US. Your dreams are coming true, my friend. I mean, you're on
First
the
of all,
UFC
salute
roster.
to my American dream.
Absolutely. Salute to you. Things are going well for you. You're making this dream come true. You're about to be fighting actual UFC competition now.
Oh, cannot wait get my
Going
hands on them.
with all the adversity that you've gone through in your career, all the sacrifices that it takes to be a mixed martial artist, all the tough days, all the low moments, does this make it all worth it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, if you really believe in yourself and put yourself out there, but for real, like not bullshitting, like you do everything right. There's the satisfaction when you make it. It doesn't matter the time that it takes, but the satisfaction, it's just very few people understand what I'm saying right now. Very few people will ever understand what I'm saying. The level of satisfaction that you feel when you achieve something so great. you know it's beyond understanding.
Now going forward here, you're on the roster. When you want to fight again? I mean, is this something hopefully by the end of the year?
We are I To be honest, want to fight in December. That would be my call. I want one more fight before the end of the year. Most likely UFC will give me something for January, I think, or maybe beginning of February, but I don't want to wait until that long. I'm gonna fix my bruises and these small little injury that kept me from not being 100% in this fight. I'll take care of them, heal nicely, and I think in about 3 weeks I'll be fully 100% in training and getting ready for everything that comes. Because trust me, those welterweights, they have no idea who they're gonna face. I'm gonna rip through everyone. Mark my words. I'll make it to that belt within 2.5 years, if God's will, that I'll be healthy. I'll make it to that belt within 2.5 years.
You know,
So I'm ready to rip everyone. I'm ready to fight everyone. I'm not afraid of everyone. So let's go. Let's go.
that
That's
170 division has a lot of very talented fighters on it. It's pretty stacked.
who.
I mean, obviously you got the Covingtons of the world and the Edwards of the world and the
Oh,
Shavkats.
Shavkat, good, very good fighter. Edwards, I think is on his way down, and by the time I get to the top, he'll be retired most likely. And if not, I'll whoop him. That's it. Who else? Usman is getting old. He's he's looking for money fights. So Shavkat and Ian Gary, Jack. Who else? Sean. Everything else, I rip through them. Outside these 4 or 5 that are really good, Again, I'm not scared of them nor intimidated, but anyone else, give it to me. I'll take everyone else on 10 days notice. No problem.
Even before being signed to the UFC, were you viewing these guys as competition?
No. You'll see. Everyone will see. Everyone will see. I'll all the time I backed up my words. I said I'll finish this guy in 2 rounds. Last time we spoke, I told you I'll finish him in 2 rounds. And I did. No one knew what was going on with me. Only I know and my camp knew how I how the hell I made it to this fight. That that's a crazy thing. How the hell I even made it to make that walk. And still whoop a guy who's 17-1 in 1.5 rounds. So yeah, you should see me when I'm 100%. And the fans will see me when I'm at my best. These guys, they what are they gonna do? They're gonna shoot for the legs. That's the only thing that can do. Because if as soon as you try to strike with me, you're gonna go down 100%. You're gonna go down. If you're gonna stay in front of me, just trying to what exchange blows. Good luck. I wish you the best.
What has the reaction been like for you, social media, from friends, from fans, from family following the victory?
Everyone lost their mind. It was a beautiful reaction. I had a lot of support, only support to be honest. Even from my country, a lot of people text me, share my posts, followed me on Instagram. It's beautiful. The amount of attention and good vibe and good energy was overwhelming. So it was great. It was good. The reaction was great. It was as I expected.
What's the reactions been like from those guys, the younger guys that you train with, who are hoping to get there where you're at? I mean, has it been pretty cool for them?
They were just can't stop hugging me. They were just, man, you are such an inspiration. I'm so happy you made it. Now, I promise it's my time. I feel so inspired and shit like that. Like they were really happy for me, and it served as motivation. Me making it to the UFC through Contender, and they're like, man, I'm so happy, and now I'm gonna work even harder. To make it. I'm happy that I'm an inspiration to all these younger guys. I really do, and I'm gonna try to maintain the same attitude and be as an example to them.
Does it kind of give you more fire, to help out those guys and kind of give back a little bit since, you're on the way to doing what you set out to do? Does it fuel it to, maybe give back to the younger guys as well?
Well, I can't do nothing for them in the sense of we're gonna keep training together. We're gonna keep doing the same things. We're gonna still, be as good friends as before. But at the end of the day, inside the cage, you are alone. I will try to serve as motivation for them as much as possible. But inside the cage, you are by yourself, and you need to deal with your own demons. So I'll just make sure they're gonna be strong here and motivate them.
Obviously, if you coming into this contest hurt, obviously you said 100% was the mental mindset. Did this reinforce to you how important it is, the mental side of being a professional fighter?
Yes, I mean it's it's all about you, man. Like how far are you willing to go? That's the question. And you're gonna find out pretty quick if you're honestly, without bullshitting yourself, you ask yourself that question: how far are you willing to go? It's all about that. Like I know how far I'm willing to push, and I know when to stop. So I think I am strong here more than physical, you know. So this is the, I think, the aspect that pushed me forward in my career, especially in the last 2 years, especially since I came here. I came by myself with nothing. I just came with a small little bag and some money in my pocket. I just came here with nothing. So I think the mental side, it's extremely important. You need to to believe before everything else. You need to not lie to yourself and be honest. How far are you willing to go? That's the most important thing. So yes, the mental side of the game, it's extremely important.
Were you able to talk to Dana at all? You have a conversation with him after the fight?
Not often. I mean, he's a busy man. He did his thing, and then obviously he left. I bet he has a million other things to do. I don't know, go to gamble or go do something else. Prepare actually for the UFC Paris. So prepare everything for that and make sure everything goes smoothly in Paris. So no, I did not. I shook his hand after he signed the contract, and then I did not have the chance to speak with him for now.
It was pretty cool. Daniel Cormier commentated for you on this one. One of the greatest ever to do it. Were you able to mix it up with him at all?
No. Again, I'm not this fanboy, to be honest. I'm not this fanboy. I shook his hands at the end when I left. I pat him on the shoulder because he was again busy with the broadcast and everything, so I did not want to interrupt too much. And I'm not this crazy fanboy. I admire people. I look up to people, but I'm not the type of guy who just want to go there and wiggle his tail and ask for a picture or shit like that. It's not my style.
A couple guys have told me since you're fighting the Apex, it's a very intimate atmosphere. There's not too many fans there. Obviously, no walkout music. Could you hear the commentators talk while you were fighting?
Yes, not because obviously I was not focused on the commentary. I was focused on keeping my hands up because man, I was getting hit from every direction basically. But yes, it's weird. It was like a weird, surreal atmosphere. The format is really quick, so he's getting in. You are behind the doors waiting. Once he steps into the cage, you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and you go. And then by the time you just take everything up, like you salute your corner, they put some Vaseline on your face, and you go. So I remember Tate putting some Vaseline on my face. Herb Dean just checking like everything is cool, and he was like, "You ready to go? Go." So I just went up those little steps and got into the cage, and by the time I walked back and forth and I stopped, and everything was already exiting the cage, and the referee, I think was Kevin McDonald's or somebody, he was like, "Ready, go." It was so quick. So I understand why many guys they're kind of that format throw them off. Like it's really quick. Like if you don't get in that cage ready to go, but like literally ready to go, it will throw you off. It will take you a little bit to understand that you are actually in a fight. It was interesting. It was interesting.
Did you enjoy that climate? Did you like having it like that? Did you like
Who
normal fans?
cared if they were telling me to go fight him in the parking lot for the contract? I would have done it. Like it's a good format for the guys that are coming in because it's quick and you have to react quick, I think. And when you are fighting for a UFC contract, you should be ready to go. You should be ready to go on command, like ready, go. So it's nice. It's a good way to select, fighters. I think it's a really smart format.
Some guys tell me when they make it on to the UFC, when they win on the Contender, a lot of guys are like, my goal's complete now. I don't care what happens now in the UFC. But
Nah,
for you, do you feel like
bums.
now is when it starts?
Only bums say that. If you are a bum, if you are happy with what you have achieved, just to make it through a contender fight, and you're a bum, you should not be allowed in the UFC. Then I should take that contract away from you. If you think this for real, like you're gonna get hurt. And many of those guys that they are just saying this, you look at them. Well, what are they? They're out of the UFC after 1 or 2 fights. They're out. So no, my goal is it's just the beginning. I said it with Laura and I said it in the interview after. This is just the beginning. I will go as far as I can. My goal is to go all the way to the belt. If I will make it, great. If I won't, again, I will go as high as possible. And when I'll retire, I'll be happy. I'll retire a happy man. I'll be like, I went as far as humanly possible for me. So yeah, I'll go as high as possible.
Do you
That's
envision
it.
2025 to be that year where you supplement yourself as a household name in mixed martial arts?
Depends on what fight they give me. For sure, first two fights they're gonna be some fights. You know, it's not too much for me to be picky with. But yeah, I mean, they asked me how many fights it would take for me to get it to the top, and I said the right fights. So it depend who they give me. You know, they can just give me some bombs and beat bombs and be a no one. Or after two or three fights, they're gonna throw some name at me, which that's what I'm looking for. Names, important fights. That's what I'm looking to fight in the UFC, not some dudes. You
What
know,
do you, what has this journey of mixed martial arts taught you? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned from this whole journey that you've been on for all these years?
go big or go home. That's it. Just go big or go home. Like, it's such a dangerous game. So if I'll get hurt, at least I'll get hurt, and it's gonna be worth it. You know, like, put me on the biggest spotlight against the biggest opponent, and let's roll. That's just go big or go home. Put yourself into the right position to go big. You know, if you are happy with just small little achievements, brother, you should do something else. This is fighting in general. Either it's boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, whatever. It's too hard of a sport, and you can get really hurt for real if you are not sure, or half and half. So yeah, that's what taught me this journey. Just go big or go home. Very simple.
Obviously you're a big fan of the sport. You know a lot about it, obviously being a UFC fighter. But I think a lot of guys fall victim to not realizing you only have a short window to do this. And
God bless them. Then I can't think for them. I can't do nothing for them. They don't understand. They think that's the arrogance of many fighters. They think they're gonna fight forever. They think they're gonna go and fucking throwing punches around like until they 50. They won't. They'll pretty soon understand once you hit 33, 34. Yeah, you kind of have to deal with 25 years old that they'll whoop your ass. So yeah, you better hurry. And I personally, I'm in a hurry.
With the evolution of this sport, now you have guys training, starting to do jujitsu at 7 years old, 8 years old. By the time they're 18, 19, they have 5 or 6 amateur contests under your belt. You alluded to these younger guys coming up. The sport's young, man. It's still a baby. It's 30 years with the UFC now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's only been culturally accepted maybe for 15 to 20. In 20, 25 years from now, is the competition going to be stupid?
To be honest, no. And I'll tell you why. I think the peak of MMA, we had it from 2004 till 2015, 16, all the way to McGregor. And then I think we had some, you know, sparks here and there, some guys. But I think the golden era of MMA, it's behind us. At least for now. At least for now. Because I really think with Pride 2003, with Fedor, Nogueiras, all those Brazilian, Anderson, Vitor, Krokop, all those heavyweights, Hando, all those Americans and all those Russian, all those Brazilian. And then when Pride got bought by the UFC, and you had the John Jones, Young Jones, the Machidas, the Shogun Ruas, the Junior Dos Santos, the Frank Mears, the Cain Velasquez, the Cormier of of the sport. Like there, I think we had the toppest MMA at its peak with the GSPs and Jose Aldos and all those guys, Anderson Silva. I really believe that we had the peak of MMA between 2003 and 2015.
You feel like you could be one of those guys to take the torch from them and be the next version of that?
I'll try. I'll try my best. I'll go as hard as humanly possible for me. Yes. Like I think we have some very good guys. I mean, Usman did great. You know, he defended the belt so many times. I think Shavkat is going to be the next, to win that belt. And God, I don't see no one who can take that belt from him unless I get my hands on him. And many others. Like we still have some guys, but I think the level of competition is pretty equal. That you'll never know who'll win. So I don't think we're gonna see like one champion, for a long time. You'll have it for like 2 or 3 fights, and then someone else will take the belt from him, and then that guy will see him for 2 or 3 fights, and somebody else will take the belt from him. I think the competition is pretty high level where everyone can beat everyone. But I think the golden era it's behind us.
Do you feel like with those names not being here anymore, with those guys who held the belts and put on records of title defenses, and now we see a lot more turnover in titles than we used to, do you feel like the mystique may not be there as what it once was 10 years ago?
The sparkle is gone, for now, because you don't have that guy who just, the last was John Jones. The last guy like this was John Jones. Bones did it all. I don't want to sound like Dana that I'm praising Jones too much, but the last guy that it was that good was Jones. John Jones was the last of his kind, and I don't see no one that can not replicate, but just do half of what he did. I don't see it. I don't see no one.
All right, Daniel, last question for you, my friend.
What do you think?
I think the greatest fighter ever is John Jones, and I don't think it's close, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a huge John Jones fan. Again, not trying to go on the whole Dana train, but I mean, Dana's right. He's not wrong. He's the greatest ever to do it. And, I think what a lot of people don't realize.
And he's the last of its kind. And people will say, steroids, not steroids. Well, if Jones was doing drugs and doing steroids, then everyone was doing steroids. I can tell you that much.
It's crazy.
Like, it's not that John Jones did it and everyone else didn't.
He made it to the UFC.
With or without Jones, it's the greatest.
Yeah. No, he's the last. UFC in 8 months. He turned pro. 6 fights later, he was in the UFC, and he won his first one in 8 months of being a pro. You're not going to see that ever again. Like, that's crazy.
Nope.
But all right, last question for you, my friend. Now that you've been in the UFC, what's the goals now? What is left to accomplish? What's on the blueprint going forward?
Well, the first thing is just finish this beautiful margarita. The second is taking care of those little injuries and start to piss somebody off. And maybe try to get a fight maybe in December. If not, I'll wait my turn. I'll play the good boy for this first one, and I'll take whoever UFC gives me and smash them and move to the next one. My idea was, at least if I won't be able to fight once more this year, my idea was to fight at least 4 times next year. That would be the ideal. Maybe let's say they're going to give me something at the end of January. Let's say February. I would like to do, let's say, February, and then maybe end of April or May, August, and then November. That would be the ideal. Do 4 times in a year. That would be more than great.
Selfishly, I'm hoping UFC Tampa, December 14th. I'm only about 4 or 5 hours from Tampa. So maybe we can like have the MMA gods send that our way.
I'll be ready. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell to the fans, to you, and to everyone watching, and to the UFC. I'll be ready for Tampa. So let's go.
All right. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with me again. It was awesome watching you on the Contender, man. And I can't wait to follow you throughout your time in the UFC, my friend.
Always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure. You can call me whenever you want.
Awesome. Well, that's it for us tonight. That is Mr. Daniel Frunza, UFC fighter. I'm the Fight Dr. Carlo Frunza. Be good, my friends.
Take care, brothers.